Hello, welcome to our first episode in 2026.
First episode 2026, but I don't know, we're probably a few hundred in.
I tried last year to start like episode 1, season 5 and count them, and then I just stopped.
All right.
We are a few years into this.
We're episode 1, 2026.
Do you remember when we did it during COVID and we like sat in the same room like 6 feet away from each other? And we recorded it with the big TV.
Those were interesting times, definitely. Generations after us are going to look at that time and make their own conclusions. All right. So since it is a new year, this is the first one that we've recorded in the new year. It's probably relevant to talk about what everyone talks about in the new year is like, what are you going to do this new year? What are you going to do in 2026? So Ashley, what are your goals for what are your kind of new things that you want to do in 2026?
So, unlike Trevor, I'm not 40 yet. So this year in February, I'm going to turn 39. So my plan is leading up to my 40th birthday, I'm going to do fun little micro challenges every month for 30 days and kind of include people on them. So I've seen one where you start with a mile and then you walk 1.1 and then you walk 1.2. So I'm going to have some form of fun little challenges every month that I'm going to be running until I turn 40. So my plan is to do all of these things. That's going to be like my fun, like this is what I'm doing for my health and fitness. They're all going to be fitness and nutrition and lifestyle related. So I'm going to work on some different practices and different things. So follow along. You guys can see them. I'll share them as I'm doing them.
What would be some examples?
So I'm going to do the mile thing. So like it was originally told to me in January 1st, you walk 1.1 miles and then 1.2 and then 1.3 through the whole month. And then in February, you start at 2.1 miles and 2.2 miles and then you build through the whole month, right? Okay. I was like, whoa, I cannot make that commitment to like 10.1 miles in October. Like one time, maybe fine. Every day in October. Probably
right, because it's every day, right? It's not
exactly,
just like for the week.
It's a build every day. So I'm thinking I might do it as just like a 1.1, 1.2 as a building throughout the month. And then you get through and you do more, right? So that is my kind of one of them. I'm going to do like a macro tracking month. I'm going to do like a fiber goal. Like, so some of them will be nutrition based. Some of them are going to be fitness based. Some of them, I'm definitely going to do some mileage. So like some running mileage this year. So I have some running mileage goals. So we might see some of that too.
Do you plan on doing like an event or something like that?
I am for sure. So I have a bunch of clients that ran a half marathon in December. I don't think I'm going to run the half marathon, probably like 10K, but I'm going to prep like I might run a half marathon.
All right, there you go.
I'm not a big runner. Got short legs, takes a long time, lots of steps.
Well, I mean, it's funny that you say that because we're actually doing something very similar. Not me personally, but we're doing it in the gym, which are exactly what you said. These like mini challenges that they're not like robust, take over your entire life and dial it all in. It's like just working on one single task or area for a period of time, 21, 28, whatever, 30 days. Right. And then trying to do the best you can with that particular thing. And then having we'll have some incentives around it where we're going to raffle stuff off for people that hit certain percentages and those kind of things. And so just like you said, movement is going to be a big piece of it, like steps per day, some different nutritional ones. Right.
So what I love is that this is our first time talking about it and we still have the same ideas.
Yeah.
Like, or pretty close to like, hey, this is what I'm thinking for this year.
Well, they're just fun and easy, right? I think sometimes we fall into this like, I need to change everything now, which if I do want to make big changes, right, I probably do need to change a lot of things right now in order to get those big changes if I need them to happen quickly, right? But like there's something fun about just keeping your health and your fitness like top of mind. And so when you have something that you're working on each month, one, it gives you direction, right? Which I think is a lot of people struggle with their fitness because they just don't have any direction. And it's hard for them to always equate like, why am I working out again? Because this whole like working out thing, it's hard to get, like it's hard first and foremost. And sometimes it hurts, right? And it's like, and so you kind of question like, why am I actually like, what benefit is this? And so you have to reframe this kind of piece of like making you stronger and then getting these little touch points of being able to lift something heavier or be able to, maybe you're out doing something in real life. And you're like, whoa, that's way easy now. I ran up those stairs without having to like catch my breath. But you don't get those you don't get those like reassurances that you're doing something that's going to benefit you on the regular, right? It's so you have to kind of like trust that, okay, yes, eating healthy, working out consistently is going to help me live a better life. We don't always get direct feedback that that is what it does. Like we know that it does that, like intuitively, but you don't always get that. And so these little, I think, mini challenges just help keep some of this top of mind, give you a focus, and not. I think too many people just kind of waver all over the place. I really don't know what to focus on. So it gives you a focus, right, on something that is going to benefit you. And then if you can find ways to relate that back to how it makes you feel, like internally, now we've hit kind of a secret sauce of building things that last, right? And I'm not against external things, right? Like you running a half marathon. Let's say you sign up for a half marathon, your butt will probably be out there running a little bit more than usual because you have to run a half marathon. So there's like nothing wrong with these like external things. I think those are really helpful as well. They actually like give us that destination.
And it doesn't have to be a PR or a 1 rep max or anything like that. It's just showing up and doing it. And I think that's like really one of the biggest struggles for people is that like you have to show up and do it. You can't, no one else can do it for you. No, there's no magic way to look like you've spent 10 years in the gym without spending 10 years in the gym. Like there's no magic to it. And that's a really hard thing to come across. But if you have these little micro things that you're working on, it's a lot easier. Like check box, do it again, check box, do it again, which is nice and convenient.
Right. And I mean, for a lot of these mini challenges too, this isn't like 75 hard type of things where it's like extremely difficult and you have to like plan your entire life around making this thing happen.
You mean doing 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each, one needs to be done outside, and you live in Minnesota and it's January? Or if you live in Mississippi and it's July?
Like I get the concept behind it, and I understand that sometimes we kind of need to get shaken out of our shell a little bit in order to potentially wake up in whatever we're in. But if we look at long-term development, that is not a approach that can help someone make progress for the next 50 years.
I've done a 75 hard because this was way before it became a really big thing. I did it many, many years ago. And I don't want to say that like it didn't teach me some things. There's a lot of grit that goes into that. Correct. There's a lot of resilience. It's a lot of like, I'm going to do it when it sucks.
Correct. Which like, there's a lot of benefit to.
There's a place for doing
getting comfortable with doing hard things. Correct.
Like, but I don't think it's the end all be all. And it's, the resolutions, the challenges, all of the things that we're going to do to change. When really, what if instead of you went crazy, you had this big resolution, instead of doing that, what if you just showed up, and did 7,500 steps a day, Monday through Friday? Like, could you do that every day for the month of January?
Right, for 30 days.
That is much more realistic than trying to get 6 workouts in a week. And I can't even, do you even know the last time you trained 6 days in a week?
I mean, it depends what you define as training, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Zone 2 cardio does not count as training. We're not going to count.
It's just training. You're training your heart to be more efficient at pumping blood around your body. Yeah. Right. So let's define training, right? It's having a physiological impact.
Okay, that's fair. But I never like think of that as a workout. I just like a physical workout. Zone 2 cardio to me is always more of a mental capacity thing. Like it is the one space where I don't have to think about anything else. Like it is. Zone 2 cardio to me is always more mental than physical. It's not physically hard to do it. It's time hard. So you have to commit the time to do it, but it's not, I don't know, it's not energy hard. It's not
Correct.
All of these other things. It's just
Correct.
showing up and doing it. And then like, there's nothing else.
I don't need to psych myself up.
I don't know. And I get the best ideas when I do Zone 2 cardio. Like I have sent myself so many audio messages of great ideas when I'm doing Zone 2 cardio. I know some people find that they get all this inspiration in the shower. I don't. Definitely Zone 2 cardio is where it's at.
Yeah, movement movement is magical when it comes to that. And it also gets you out of your element a little bit. Sometimes the best ideas come when we stop thinking about them. And so let's kind of frame this to the person that's maybe kind of struggling with showing up, right? Maybe they're struggling with consistency, right? Which is the vast majority of people, right? So there's a few different ways I think you can start approaching this in a healthy, realistic way. One, I think, is some sort of external event. I think those are really powerful. right? So if you want to get into running, sign up for a 5K in like June, right? So you have plenty of time to be able to train for it, right? If you maybe just want to be more active, maybe schedule like a vacation that revolves around like a really cool hike that you want to do, or something that is going to require some sort of physical prowess, right? Like you can't just like show up and do it. You need to train a little bit, right? And so sometimes putting these external events on our calendar makes it a little bit easier to show up regularly, because we have this external thing that this is what I am doing it for.
Well, and I mean, Zach my husband is the perfect example. He did that hunt last year in Wyoming, and he knew he was going to be on a horse, and he knew he was going to be in the mountains. And he remembers the last time he did a mountain hunt, and it was not near as fun as he thought it was going to be. And this year, he knew like mornings were hard, after work is hard. He went to the gym every day at noon, which means he didn't come to the gym with me. He went to a gym that was convenient to him. He got a Planet Fitness membership, and he went most days. I want to say he went every day, but he made it there 3 or 4 days a week, and he did what he needed to do there. Lots of stair milling, because there was going to be lots of climbing. So like, what are you doing, and what does your exercise need to look like to get you to where you want to be too?
Right. So that could be like a running event. That could be like a cool physical vacation. It could be a high rocks. It could be like a Tough Mudder adventure race, things like that. It could be a bike ride. Because there's lots of things. But when we have that on our calendar, now it's like, okay, I have a reason to show up and train. And that can be enough, right, to get you to show up. But then two, to start developing this like internal enjoyment, right? Of like, yes, training sometimes doesn't feel good, and sometimes it like just hurts a little bit. And it should, if we are doing things that are challenging. But then understanding that ultimately makes us a stronger person, which then allows us to show up better in other areas of our life. And then also when life hits the fan in other areas, we're actually building more resilience and capacity to be able to handle those things. But that usually comes secondary, right? So in like external happens first. Let's get consistent. And then once you get consistent, you start to develop this new paradigm, this new mental identity of who you are and why you're doing it. And then if you start to kind of bring this stuff together into like how it actually impacts your everyday life, it makes it a whole lot easier to show up. It doesn't mean that like you're going to be perfect and show up 5 days and 6 days a week and get every single one in, but you're probably going to have less periods where you don't do anything, because it'll just become part of like who you are, right? And we know in any endeavor, the more consistent you can be over a long period of time, the higher likelihood that you're going to be successful, right? And this isn't about a perfect routine or anything like that. It's just about like showing up consistently enough. And so for anyone kind of struggling in the new year, I think that's one of the things that you can do right away, is have that external thing on the calendar that you want to show up for and you want to do well at, right? Don't pick something that doesn't mean anything to you, or that you could do it in your current state, right? Like if you're an elite runner and you're already running a lot, maybe do a half or do a full or something like that that would actually like push you to the next level, right?
And something else that I love, if you're a road runner, find a trail race. It totally changes your training. Like there's so many, like you could add mountain biking in, you could look at, there's so many different variations. There's triathlons, you could do triathlons that aren't like, I've seen them with paddle boards and with mountain bikes on hills. Like there's so many different things you can do. The other thing I love is train to do a new skill. If you've always wanted to do insert thing, train to be able to do it. You want to start mountain biking? Well, get a bike, start riding it. Like those are all great ways of something that you might want to do and maybe you're a little bit intimidated by, but gets you out of the comfort zone to try new things.
The next thing that I think you can do, that's a great strategy. I want to give you another strategy. It's a social strategy, right? Because as humans, we are social creatures, right? And a lot of us say, hey, we don't have time in the day to do X, Y, and Z and all of these things. And maybe we have children that are taking up a lot of time. Maybe we don't have time to see our friends, right? And so one of the strategies that's worked really well for me over the past probably 5 to 10 years is doing workouts with a partner, with a friend, right? Someone you enjoy being around. And maybe you don't have time to see each other outside of, the workout time, but now you have someone else to show up for.
This makes me laugh because if I plan to work out with you, I've never not shown up for a workout, but I will definitely bailed on dinner, coffee, going to the movies. Like I will never bail on a workout because workouts have a spot and they get scheduled, but like something can always come up at 5 o'clock PM. or I'm tired.
Interesting. It's an interesting phenomenon, right? But it fills a couple different buckets, right? Where now I have another reason to show up. One, there's accountability to my friend that I don't want to disappoint, right? I want to show up because I said I was going to show up, right? I'm someone that does what I say I'm going to do, right? So we have that component of it, and it's reciprocal, and they're feeling the same thing, right? So it kind of, you have that accountability bucket. The second one is a social bucket. You maybe don't get to see this person outside of this, and it's actually really enjoyable for you to be able to catch up and see how things are going, right? This doesn't mean you need to work out every single time together. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's twice a week, whatever that may be. But now you fill that social bucket too. And who cares if sometimes the workouts turn into a little bit more talking than a little bit more working out, right? Because what we're thinking about here is how do we consistently show up, right? Because if someone's consistently show up, we can always make the showing up better. But the hard part that most people run into is the actual showing up part. And so how do we make that easier?
Well, and this also makes me think 80% of the people, 80% of people, the people, will give up on their resolutions by the end of this month. And most of them give up because of the accountability portion. So this is where having a gym buddy, having a coach, having these people that are going to also hold you accountable can be so huge to making changes in the long term.
And Ashley just said it too. Another thing is to hire a coach or hire a trainer or someone that's going to be there waiting for you. And I have clients
I'll be here
tell
at
me this,
5:30
right?
a.m.
I have clients tell me this all the time, right? They showed up because they knew that their coach was there waiting for them, or their coach had a program ready, and they're going to show up more often than not. Right? It's not a perfect science, but our goal isn't perfection. Our goal is better. And someone shows up more often when they have a coach, right? And again, when I talk about making this easy, right? When you show up and someone just tells you what to do, right? That's easy, right? Or they have the program already developed for you. It makes it easy.
No
Right?
joke. I start Haley's program next week. Like,
So,
if she wrote it, I know she's going to want feedback. I'm going to show up and do it.
right. And so it just, again, I think if we want to start something new that we're not already in the routine of, we should really be thinking about how do we make this easy to start, right? And how can we rig the game in a way that we have a higher likelihood of winning. And so you can use some of these constructs, right? Like external motivation, like social accountability, like hiring a coach or an expert, right? Having a plan done for you, or purchasing a plan or something to follow, right? These all just make it easier, and the likelihood of you following through just becomes much higher, right? We can't ever have 100% likelihood that something's going to happen, but you can increase the chances. And all of these things increase the chances so that you can ultimately be consistent long enough to get the result that you want to get. And that's the unfortunate part about this whole like working out thing, is it's kind of like a rest of our life type of thing, right? Like you're going to have like a little bit of peaks and valleys, right? You might be in, like, I'm not going to be in the same condition that I am at 30 that I am at 90, right? It's just physiology doesn't allow it. Right. And so there are going to be changes in this, but just the act of movement and paying attention to what we're eating and taking care of ourselves, like this is kind of an all the time, forever type of thing. And so it's hard for our brains to wrap our head around it forever. And so that's where, how can you just keep stacking bricks over and over and over again, and find enjoyment in the actual stacking, not in the end result. Like the enjoyment, when you can figure out how to enjoy the every brick, you've won the game.
To me, I always think about putting it on my to-do list. Like, who doesn't love to cross something off their to-do list? Who doesn't love getting to put a sticker on their sticker chart? Who doesn't love when they are in their FF Coach app and they hit complete workout, they get confetti? Not a single person. How do we get more days like that? How do we check it off? I promise you, I put my workout on my to-do list and I cross it off like I cross out everything else. Guess what? It moves up to higher priority when it's on my to-do list versus when it's not. It might mean I'm training at 7 a.m. because I know nothing's going to run in my way. Whereas like, oh, I might work out at 2 today. Well, that doesn't work. And then you push it off and you don't do it. Whereas if it's on my to-do list, it doesn't get pushed off. It goes into that 7 a.m. slot, just like clockwork. I show up, I do the thing, and I move on with my day. And that could be different times for different people and all of that stuff. But like, honestly, if you want to make these commitments, put it on your to-do list like you put all of your other priorities, and then you put it in your calendar.
Mm-hmm. These are all strategies. These are all ways to help you be more successful. And you got to figure out what works for you ultimately at the end of the day. So just deciding you want to do something is actually like step one, but there's a lot
It's
of
step
actual
zero.
steps, right?
It's
So
step zero.
that gives you the direction. And then we should be thinking about these other pieces to help make doing the thing that much easier. Right. And then I think also allowing ourselves a little bit of grace in the process. So this isn't an all or nothing. This isn't if I didn't do it, whatever I set out to do perfectly, that now I don't do anything. It's finding being comfortable with 80, 90% of the way there. Some days or some weeks will be 100%, and that's awesome. Some weeks will be 40%. It's a concept we've talked about nauseum in the past, is our concept of the dial, right? And so we never want to be dialed off. We're just somewhere on that dial, right? Are we a 4 this week? Are we a 6 this week? Are we a 10 this week? It's going to be constantly changing based upon life, right? And we just have to figure out where we are for that particular week. But if we can commit to never turning it off, like that's how you're going to be successful over the next decade and not the next 10 weeks. So hopefully that's helpful. Anything else you got, Coach?
I think it was the best of fitness is forever. And you just have to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
have fun.
Find enjoyment in the process.
Cheers.
Happy New Year.
6.
Topo Chico, get yourself a Topo Chico. Best
That's
mineralized water.
It's so carbonated.
Such a good bite. It's great.
Hey, but if you're looking for something else, the Element, the skinny cans, pineapple. Have a great day.
I did like that flavor.
That's my favorite now. Bye, everybody.